Welcome back to Security Management, everybody. My name is Sube Sant, and today we're going to discuss computer inventory control. So, what is computer inventory control? So, according to the SIS Prep Guide, computer inventory control is the control of computers and computer equipment from physical theft and protection from damage. Now, there are two main areas of computer inventory control, which are computer physical control and laptop control. Computer physical control, or otherwise known as PC physical control. So the text continues to elaborate that due to the proliferation of distributed computing and the proliferation of laptops, inventory control at the microcomputer level is a major headache. Some groups estimate that 40% of computer inventory shrinkage is due to microcomputer parts walking out the door. So this basically explains in many situations computer parts and its accessories are easily stolen, usually by anyone within or outside of the organization. For this, there are several ways to mitigate such attacks. Some of these solutions are cable locks, port controls, switch controls, peripheral switch controls, and electronic security boards. So cable locks include a vinyl covered steel cable which binds a computer and its peripherals to the structure it is on, making it difficult for theft to occur. So as you would see in these images here, there is, there is a cable connected to the devices, which would be the monitor, the PC, the CPU, the keyboard and mouse, all connected to the cable to secure it. Port controls are devices that secure data ports, which prohibits users from using those ports. Example, as you would see flash drive ports and serial port devices. You wouldn't want unauthorized personnel using these ports for their own reason. Switch controls are basically covering for on and off switches to prevent a user from switching power off to important devices. So imagine not having a cover on a switch that is connected to a server room, and with just a flick, whether accidentally or intentionally, the server goes down. Next we have peripheral switch controls. This type of control are lockable switches that prevent users from entering input into the computer system. So basically, long ago, computer manufacturers used to make a key slot that would control the keyboard input. So if you locked it, the keyboard would not send any signal, while the computer wouldn't read any signal that came from the keyboard, and sometimes it prevented the cover from opening as well. And the last method is electronic security boards. So these boards are placed into a PC's expansion slot and require a user to provide a password while booting the device. However, a lot of PCs have a password functionality at the BIOS phase of the booting and doesn't require extra electronic security board unless they have their own cryptographic locking programs. So next we have laptop control. And with the abundance of laptops and portable devices that companies use daily to carry out their duties or tasks, security management for those devices are a real challenge, because now that computer Computing power is distributed across the world. Physical inventory management is almost difficult for basic companies without significant IT assistance. So, stolen laptops and other devices are serious problems and causes a violation in all three components of the CIA, which is confidentiality, integrity, availability, and integrity. And I'll discuss further on how this affects CIA. So, confidentiality is affected since the details contained within the laptop or portable device can now be accessed by those outside of the organization. Availability is now affected because the user lost their computing ability, and integrity as the data residing on the unit or device and any telecommunications from it are now uncertain. Next, we have media storage requirements. Security professionals are deeply worried regarding the continued preservation of digital media and the appropriate disposal of unnecessary media and reports. So often, a company devotes a significant number of resources to cover protection and network security, and instead inappropriately disposes of data. Instances, instances may occur where companies reuse devices without completely and properly wiping data residing in them. In addition, since laptop theft is common, it is also an essential requirement to encrypt any personal data on those kinds of portable devices. Here we have some media types that are common for storage, disposal, and reuse. Data backup tapes, CDs, diskettes, hard drives, paper printouts, and reports. In Now these storage devices can be stored either on-site or off-site. On-site are areas within the facility such as operation centers, desks, offices, storage closets, cabinets, safe, and any other things like that. Off-site are areas outside of the facility such as data backup vault services, partners and vendors, and disposable systems. One note is that transportation to or from external data vault services vendor is a security concern, and it should be examined for problems relating to theft, copying, alteration, or destruction of data. Data destruction and reuse. So data that is not needed or used anymore must be discarded. Usually materials on magnetic medium such as hard drives is typically destroyed by degaussing, which is removing the magnetic field, or overwriting. Formatting a disk once does not totally remove all data, so the whole media needs to be overwritten or formatted about 7 times to comply with object reuse standards. Items such as paper reports should be shredded by personnel with the proper level of security clearance. Some shredders cut in straight lines or strips, others cross-cut or disintegrate the material into pulp. Care must be taken to limit access to the reports prior to disposal and those stored for long periods. Reports should never be disposed of without shredding, such as when they are placed in a dumpster intact. Burning is also sometimes used to destroy paper reports, especially in the Department of Defense and military. And not only that, for example, in a law firm, most of the times they dispose of their documents by burning it. Object reuse and data remnants. So object reuse is the concept of reusing data storage media after its initial use. Data remnants is the problem of residual information remaining on the media after erase, which may be subject to restoration by another user, thereby resulting in a loss of confidentiality. Diskettes, hard drives, and tapes, and any magnetic or writable media are susceptible to data remnants. Retrieving the bits and pieces of data that have not been thoroughly removed from storage media is a common method of computer forensics, and is often used by law enforcement personnel to preserve evidence and to construct a trail of misuse. Anytime a storage media is reused, and also when it is discarded, there is the potential for the media's information to be retrieved. Methods must be employed to properly destroy the existing data to ensure that no residual data is available to new users. So the Orange Book standard recommends that magnetic media be formatted around 7 times before discard or reuse. So there are some terminology relative to various stages of data erasure, which are clearing, purging, and destruction. So clearing is the term referred to the overwriting of data media intended to be reused in the same organization or monitored environment. Purging is a term referred to degaussing, which is removing the magnetic field, or overwriting media intended to be removed from a monitored environment, such as during resale or donation to charity. And the last term, destruction, which refers to completely destroying the media and therefore the residual data. Paper reports, diskettes, and optical media need to be physically destroyed before disposal. So there are some common problems with magnetic media in terms of erasing that may cause data remnants. So one of the first problems is that people tend to erase through operating systems, but this does not remove all the data. It just changes the file allocation table and renames the first character of the file. This is the most common way computer forensics investigators can restore files. So when you think that you are erasing files from your hard drives on a computer, there are ways to retrieve those files. Second problem is damaged sectors. So these damaged sectors of the disk may not be overwritten by the format utility, so degaussing may need to be used, or formatting 7 times is recommended. So another problem is writing files on top of old files. This is a problem because files may not override all data on the disk, because a new file may not be as long as the older file, and data may be retrieved past the file end character. Degaussure, equipment failure, or operator error may result in an inadequate erasure. So this is when persons attempt to degauss or remove the magnetic field on a hard drive. In the event that they don't do it properly, data could still be retrieved. And the last problem is that individuals might format their hard drive or magnetic media one time, or not the required amount that is supposed to format. And magnetic media contains sensitive information, and the standard to format those media are 7 times or more. And that is the end of my presentation. I hope you all learned from it, and if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments.